Welcome back to Andersen Acres. We're inside today hanging out with little Aquarius playing on my bed. He is my little darling boy. And today we are going to talk about outcrossing. Because outcrossing is something we all do, but we never really talk about it specifically. So what is outcrossing? Outcrossing is bringing in a rabbit who is not from your line. So maybe it's your friend's bunny, and breeding them into your line. So an example of outcrossing is if I take Aquarius and trade him, like we're thinking of doing, with my friend's rabbit who's also a blue-eyed white. We trade blue-eyed whites. That's considered an outcross because her blue-eyed white is not related to my blue-eyed whites. So because her guys are not related to mine, breeding her bunny to my bunny is considered an outcross. Okay? We all outcross. This is the most common method. Why are we blurry? That's better. But it's the most common method for breeding rabbits that especially beginner breeders do. They take two rabbits that are not related to each other, and instead of doing what we talked about last week, and instead of line breeding, they outcross. Stay here. Do not jump off the bed, you little bum. But that is basically what outcrossing is. So we all outcross. Every time you go and get yourself a new buck because he's not related to the girls you have, so that you can breed that buck back to your girls, that's outcrossing. Same breed, so this is not cross-breeding. You're not breeding a different breed into your lines, but you are instead making sure that your fluffle, your little herd, has some genetic diversity. Okay? That is what you're doing when you are obtaining a new buck or some new does or whatever for your group. So what are the pros of that? The pros of that are you're introducing new genetic material all of the time. Okay? So you are constantly getting new genetic material and introducing that into your fluffle. So you're not breeding mother to son, you're not breeding cousins or anything like that. These rabbits have no rabbit in common with yours on their pedigrees. So the benefits there are increasing the health, vigor, and genetic diversity of your rabbits because now you've got someone not related. And this is generally a very good idea. Okay, it's also a really good idea if your particular line of rabbits has a very specific problem. So my rabbits are actually pretty darn near perfect. They have excellent ear carriage. They have good body shape. Some of my rabbits don't eat that remote. Oh my God, don't you dare eat those remotes. Anyway. But some of my rabbits are a little bit wide in the hindquarters. Okay? Not him. He's good. But some of them are, like his sister was. His sister has since moved on to her new home. But his sister's a little wide in the butt. So because some of my rabbits are a little bit wide in the butt, but they have excellent ear carriage, I might consider swapping out, for example, Aquarius, for my friend's buck, who he has the perfect butt. So I might be able to correct having slightly too wide of a butt in my rabbits with her rabbit. Bring in a rabbit that has the perfect butt. However, he does not quite have the stunning ear carriage that Gemini and her line has. So Gemini has got the perfect ear carriage, but she throws babies that can be a little bit wide in the butt. So if I cross her to my friend's blue-eyed white, they will, just by law of numbers, throw a certain percentage of rabbits that have perfect ear carriage and perfect butts. They will also throw a statistically significant number of babies that are too wide in the butt and don't have perfect ear carriage. So pro and con, right? You're going to get what you're looking for. You're also going to not get what you're looking for. So you get both. So you have to selectively choose who you're going to breed for the generation after that, making sure you don't breed one of the ones you didn't really want. One of the ones that was kind of a byproduct of that breeding. So you don't breed those ones. You sell those ones as pets. And you keep and breed the ones that are perfect for your breeding program. So it's actually not a bad thing at all. There's very few things you can say about outcrossing that are not good. Okay? Hi, buddy. So very few things you can say that are not good with outcrossing. The only thing you can say is when you are bringing in a rabbit from a line you haven't worked with, you don't actually know what's hiding in their genes. Unless you're intimately familiar with the rabbitry they have come from, you don't actually know. When you've been working with your own line, breeding in line so that your rabbits, you know all of their parents and their grandparents because they're all related, you are pretty well familiar with the things that might crop up that are not great. So you are prepared for the occasional, maybe someone doesn't have perfect ears, or maybe you have these things that pop up in your own line occasionally, but you're ready for that. With an unfamiliar rabbit, you could be breeding into your line. I'm just going to bring you away from there, man. But you could be breeding into your line things that you would not expect. Things that were not necessarily revealed through line breeding, okay? Because your rabbits have recessive traits, but so does this new rabbit. So does this new guy that you're bringing in. They absolutely have their own traits that they're bringing to the table. That's one of the reasons why you wanted them. But not all those traits will be good, and a lot of them are going to be recessive. And they might only pop up once you breed them to your rabbits that have a different set of recessive traits. So you might bring in a new rabbit, and he might be perfect, but the genes he throws are not. So if the genes he throws are not perfect, then he is not as good for a breeding program as you might have hoped. So when you outcross, you are introducing the unknown. That's not a bad thing. Outcrossing is still very much the way to go. Especially if you're a beginning rabbit breeder, you should start by crossing rabbits that are absolutely unrelated to each other. Hi. Okay, you absolutely should do that. The only thing you need to be aware of is it's entirely possible that when you bring in that new rabbit, they're going to throw a bunch of genes you're not entirely happy with. That's normal. That happens. It's not a bad thing because still you're introducing new genes. But unless you are familiar with that rabbit's entire line, maybe that breeder is your best friend and you guys have been talking about it a long time, then maybe you will already kind of know what to expect, but you'll still be surprised when you cross their line with yours, because that's kind of what happens. You cross two unrelated lines, you don't know how they're going to mix yet. So that's the only downside, is you really don't know what you're going to get in the babies. When you're line breeding, you have generations of crossing those same lines to know what you're going to get. You don't know that with an outcross. So I absolutely encourage outcrossing. Every single breeder should start with outcrossing unrelated rabbits and work on refining your own line. And then only introduce new rabbits to your line if you are sure about their genetics and sure about what they might throw. You'll still get caught off guard occasionally, but if you do your research and you know what rabbits and what lines you're bringing in to interact with yours, you'll at least be a little more aware. But outcrossing, definitely a thing. All of us do. All of us need to do. The benefit is it brings new health and vigor to your herd. Do not jump off the bed. We had this discussion. You're learning to be a house bunny. House bunnies don't fly off the bed and break their necks. Be an ice bunny. Anyway, not the point. But you definitely need to outcross. It brings health and vigor into your herd. It is something we all do and should do on occasion to make sure we are not breeding our rabbits in such a way that we lack genetic diversity. Do not chew on my stuffed rabbit. That is my stuffed rabbit, you little bad boy. That's a bad boy. Anyway, I mussed up your hair. Anyway, that is about it for us here today at Andersen Acres. Good luck in obtaining and breeding your sweet rabbits. We'll see you tomorrow.